The truth has a funny way of crawling out from under the wreckage, and tonight on SmackDown, the truth didn't just crawl, it screamed. Welcome back to Wrestling Apocalypse, the only place where we dig through the debris of the most chaotic nights in sports entertainment to find the pulse of the story. If you are sitting there right now with your heart hammering against your ribs, you aren't alone. We have spent the last 72 hours obsessing over the tragedy of Jey Uso. We saw the sirens, we saw the stretcher, and we saw the mountain of steel trusses that nearly ended the main event forever. But tonight, SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis did what nobody thought he had the guts to do. He went into the digital archives, he bypassed the Bloodline security protocols, and he revealed the high-definition, uncut video footage of exactly what happened in that loading dock. This isn't just a backstage incident anymore, folks. This is a crime. And the person caught on that camera? It isn't just a shock, it is a betrayal that fundamentally shatters every alliance we thought we understood in the year 2026. The atmosphere in the arena tonight was suffocating. From the moment the show went on the air, there was no pyro, no upbeat music, and no yeet chants. The ring was empty except for a single podium and a massive silver screen. When Nick Aldis walked out, he didn't have his usual swagger. He looked like a man who hadn't slept in 3 days. He adjusted his tie, leaned into the microphone, and his voice cracked just a little bit. He told the WWE Universe that the board of directors had pressured him to keep this footage under lock and key for legal reasons, but he said he couldn't look Jey Uso's kids in the eye if he didn't show the world the face of the monster who tried to take their father away. He signaled to the production truck, the lights dimmed to a bruised purple, and the screen flickered to life. The footage started with a timestamp, Friday, 9:42 p.m. The camera was a fixed security unit overlooking the Bay 4 loading dock. You see Jey Uso. He's leaning against a road case, looking at his phone, probably checking in with family. He looks relaxed, a rare moment of peace for a man who has spent years in a state of war. But then, you see the shadows shift. From behind a stack of black curtains, a figure emerges. This wasn't a quick strike. It was a hunt. The attacker moved with a terrifying, calculated grace, wearing a heavy tactical hoodie and gloves. Jey hears something, he turns, and for a split second, the two men lock eyes. Jey's expression shifts from confusion to a look of profound, soul-crushing recognition. He didn't even put his hands up. He just whispered a name we couldn't hear, and then the world collapsed. The attacker didn't just hit Jey, he used a steel pipe to take out the support pin of the overhead lighting truss. We watched in slow motion as 500 pounds of industrial steel plummeted, pinning Jey's lower half against the concrete. But the footage didn't stop there. The attacker walked over to the wreckage, knelt down next to Jey's face, and pulled back his own hood. The camera zoomed in, the digital grain cleared, and the arena went so quiet you could hear the hum of the air conditioning. The man who buried Jey Uso was Jey Uso. The explosion of noise that followed in the arena was unlike anything I've ever heard. It wasn't a heel-turn roar. It was a collective, agonizing cry of a fan base that has watched these two brothers bleed for each other since they were children. Jey Uso? The man who supposedly made peace? The man who was supposed to be Jey's lifeline? On the screen, Jey didn't look angry. He looked empty. He reached down, patted Jey on the shoulder, and whispered something into his ear before walking out of the frame and into the night. Nick Aldis cut the feed right there, standing in the silence as the main event Jey Uso's broken body remained frozen on the screen. The energy in the building shifted from shock to a visceral, toxic anger. Backstage, our sources at Wrestling Apocalypse are telling us the fallout is total anarchy. We saw footage of Solo Sikoa being intercepted by security because he was trying to kick down the door to Nick Aldis's office. We've heard reports that Roman Reigns, who we saw visit Jey in the hospital, has gone completely radio silent. He's not in the building. He's not answering his phone. The tribal chief has been abandoned by his cousins, and his empire is currently a house of cards in a hurricane. One producer told us that the locker room is disgusted, with several top stars demanding that Jey be banned from the building for life. The fan perspective is a fascinating, chaotic warzone tonight. On social media, the hashtag #USOVSUSO tag is trending #1 worldwide, but the conversation is heartbreaking. Fans are dissecting Jey's motive. Was it jealousy? Was it a directive from a higher power? Or has Jey simply snapped under the weight of being the other twin for too long? Some people are pointing out that Jey's eyes in the footage look dead, as if he was a man performing a task he hated but felt he had to finish. The Wrestling Apocalypse community has been debating the Bloodline fallout for years, but nobody, and I mean nobody, predicted a betrayal this cold, this calculated, and this physical. Think about the cinematic stakes for WrestleMania. We were looking at a potential reunion. We were looking at the brothers standing side by side against the new threats of 2026. Now, we are looking at a fratricide. We are looking at the most personal grudge match in the history of the industry. Jimmy didn't just cost Jey a match, he tried to cost him his career. He used the very tools of their trade to bury him. It is a metaphorical and literal execution of the Twin Magic legacy. The commentary team of Michael Cole and Wade Barrett were in a state of absolute wreckage as the show moved forward. Cole, who has called the Usos matches since they were rookies, sounded like he was mourning a family member. He kept asking, "How do you come back from this? How does a mother look at her sons after seeing this?" Barrett, usually the cynic, could only shake his head. He pointed out the tactical nature of the attack, noting that Jimmy knew exactly which pin to pull to cause the most damage without killing his brother. It was surgical cruelty. As we look toward the next few weeks, the apocalypse isn't a future event anymore, it's the current reality of Friday nights. Nick Aldis has announced that there is a warrant out for Jey Uso's professional arrest, meaning he is suspended indefinitely without pay, but we all know that a suspension doesn't stop a man who is willing to bury his own blood. Jimmy is out there somewhere, a ghost in the system, and Jey is in a hospital bed with a mountain of rehab ahead of him. This is why we watch. Not for the titles, but for the stories that feel like they're written in blood and tears. Jey Uso has crossed a line that has no return bridge. He has turned the bloodline into a chalk circle, and he's the only one standing outside of it. We are going to be tracking every medical update on Jey, every sighting of Jimmy, and every word that finally comes out of Roman Reigns' mouth. This is the moment that defines the year 2026. The mask is off, the footage is public, and the Brotherhood is dead. I want to hear from you, the heart of the wrestling apocalypse community. Why did Jimmy do it? Is there any world where you can forgive him, or is he officially the most hated man in wrestling history? And where is Roman? Is he the architect of this tragedy, or is he as shocked as we are? Drop your theories, your heartbreak, and your yeet tributes in the comments below. We read every single one, and tonight, we need to process this together because the world of wrestling just got a lot darker. If you're as gripped by this reveal as we are, hit that like button to support the channel. It helps us keep the lights on while we hunt for the truth in the shadows. Smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update, because the USO war has officially begun, and we have a front row seat to the destruction. I've been your host for Wrestling Apocalypse. Watch your back, stay loud, and we'll see you at the next bell. Would you like me to investigate the hidden audio from the security footage, or perhaps look into the rumors of a third party that might have influenced Jimmy's actions?